The purchase I regret most wasn't the most expensive thing I've ever bought. That's what surprised me. It wasn't a luxury car. It wasn't a house. It wasn't some risky investment that went wrong. In fact, at the time, it didn't even feel like a mistake. It felt deserved, reasonable, normal. And that's exactly why it became one of the most expensive lessons of my life. Because the most dangerous financial mistakes rarely look dangerous when you're making them. They look exciting. They look justified. They look harmless. I remember the day clearly. I had been working hard for months. Long hours, stressful weeks, constant pressure. And finally, I received a larger paycheck than usual. Not life-changing money, but enough to make me feel successful. For the first time in a while, I felt ahead. I felt like I had earned the right to reward myself. And that's when the idea appeared. Why not buy it? I had wanted it for months. Everywhere I looked, people seemed to have one. Social media made it look normal. Friends talked about it. Reviews praised it. Advertisements made it look like a symbol of success. And honestly, I convinced myself it would improve my life. So I bought it. The excitement was immediate. I remember opening the package, looking at it, using it, feeling proud. For a few days, it felt amazing. For a few weeks, it still felt exciting. Then something interesting happened. The excitement disappeared. Completely. The thing I thought would make me happier became ordinary. Normal. Just another object in my life. But the money? The money was gone forever. That experience introduced me to a concept I wish I had learned much earlier. The difference between temporary happiness and permanent value. Many purchases create temporary happiness. Very few create permanent value. And if you don't know the difference, you can spend years chasing the wrong thing. Looking back now, the purchase itself wasn't the real mistake. The thinking behind the purchase was, because I wasn't buying something useful. I was buying a feeling of success, a feeling of achievement, a feeling of status. The object was simply the delivery method. And feelings are expensive when you buy them repeatedly. At the time, I didn't realize this. I thought spending money was solving a problem. In reality, it was only distracting me from one. Because the truth was, I wasn't satisfied with my financial progress. I wanted to feel successful before becoming successful. And that's a trap many people fall into. Modern life constantly encourages us to look successful. Drive the right car. Wear the right clothes. Own the right things. Upgrade everything. The message is always the same. Buy this and you'll feel better. Buy this and you'll feel accomplished. Buy this and people will respect you. The problem? That feeling never lasts. There's always another upgrade. Another purchase. Another thing to chase. That's why consumption can become endless. Not because people are irresponsible. Because they're searching for emotions in places where emotions don't live. I spent years learning that lesson. And honestly, it cost me more than money. It cost time. Because every dollar spent unnecessarily is a dollar that can't be saved. Can't be invested. Can't grow. Can't create future freedom. That's something I didn't fully understand when I was younger. I saw money as spending power. Now I see money differently. I see money as options. Every dollar represents future choices, future security, future freedom. When you spend money, you're not only giving up cash, you're giving up possibilities. That's why thoughtful spending matters so much. I remember calculating something years later. If I had invested the money instead of spending it, what would it be worth today? The answer shocked me. Because the true cost wasn't the purchase price. The true cost was the opportunity cost. The growth that never happened. The future value that disappeared. That's when the purchase became far more expensive in my mind. And honestly, that lesson changed how I make decisions. Now when I want something, I ask a different question. Not, can I afford this? Instead, what am I giving up to buy this? Those questions sound similar, but they're completely different. Most people can afford many things. The real question is whether the trade-off is worth it. Because every financial decision involves a trade-off. Present enjoyment. Future freedom. Present comfort. Future opportunity. Present excitement. Future growth. And understanding those trade-offs changed everything for me. One thing I noticed after that purchase was how quickly human beings adapt. Psychologists call it hedonic adaptation. A fancy term for something simple. We get used to things. Fast. The new phone becomes normal. The new car becomes normal. The new gadget becomes normal. The excitement fades. Then we search for the next thing. And the cycle repeats. Understanding this was incredibly valuable. Because it taught me that lasting happiness rarely comes from buying more. It often comes from wanting less. That's a difficult lesson in a world designed to encourage consumption. Every day we're surrounded by messages telling us we're missing something. That we need something. That happiness is one purchase away. But in my experience, financial peace comes from the opposite direction. Not constantly adding. Sometimes subtracting. Reducing unnecessary spending. Reducing comparison. Reducing impulse decisions. Reducing financial clutter. Those changes improved my life far more than most purchases ever did. The funny thing is, I don't even remember many of the things I once desperately wanted. At the time they felt important, urgent, necessary. Now, I barely think about them. That's another lesson worth remembering. Many purchases feel permanent emotionally, but temporary practically. The desire feels intense, then disappears. That's why I've learned to wait. Whenever possible. I give myself time. Days. Weeks. Sometimes months. And something surprising happens. Many desires fade. Not all of them. But many. And when a desire survives time, it's often a better purchase. Because it's based on value rather than emotion. That simple habit has saved me thousands. Not because I'm perfect. Because time creates clarity, and clarity improves decisions. Looking back now, the purchase I regret most wasn't disastrous. It didn't ruin my finances. It didn't create debt. It didn't destroy my future. But it taught me one of the most valuable money lessons I've ever learned. Buying things rarely changes your life as much as you think. But keeping money often does. Saving money creates options. Investing money creates opportunities. Financial freedom creates peace. And peace is worth far more than temporary excitement. That's why I don't regret the lesson. Only the tuition, because sometimes financial mistakes become valuable teachers. And honestly, that purchase taught me more about money than any finance book ever could. Today, when I think about financial success, I don't think about the things I own. I think about the choices I have. The flexibility I have. The freedom I have. Because that's what money is really supposed to provide. Not status. Not appearances. Freedom. And that's the lesson hidden inside the purchase I regret most. So now I'm curious, what's one purchase you regret? And what did it teach you about money? Comment below. And if you enjoy videos about personal finance, money mindset, financial literacy, and real-life money lessons, subscribe. Because sometimes the most expensive purchases teach the most valuable lessons.